All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Wow, so we are back. Welcome to 2026. This is my first official live of the year. So I'd like to say hello to everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm just taking a moment to make sure I'm live on both Facebook and Instagram. So as you're coming in, feel free to say hey so I can shout you out. Let me know how you're doing, how your new year has been so far, and I'm excited to get into tonight's conversation. So as you're coming in, just go ahead and put your name and where you're tuning in from in the comments for me so I can give you a quick shout out as I am sharing this live for everybody to see it. And I'm really excited. Tonight's going to be a really dope conversation. I think you guys are in for a treat. One of my favorite people is on with me tonight. Okay, so let me go ahead and share here. All right, so if you're just coming in, go ahead and drop where you're tuning in from in the chat for me. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's conversation. So tonight we're talking about marketing with authority. We're talking about not playing small, right? And so before I get to my special guest for tonight, let me just welcome you guys back to another Leader Tribe Live. Like, it's been a minute, so I'm really excited to be back, excited to have this conversation with everyone tonight. And I want to be very, very clear about something moving forward. So up until this point, I have made these lives public on my pages. But starting next month, Leader Tribe Live will exclusively live inside the Leader Tribe. So if you want to tune into these conversations, if you want to be part of these conversations, you're going to have to join the group or visit the group in order to actually see them. Okay, so they will no longer be streamed on my personal profiles, but they will be moved to the Leader Tribe exclusively. And this is intentional for this platform because it's designed for leaders who want to be in the room and really take in the gems that are going to be dropped by myself and by my esteemed guests that I'm bringing in. So if you are catching the replay somewhere else or somebody shared this live with you, make sure that you join the Leader Tribe so you don't miss the upcoming conversations that we have this year, because we have some really powerful conversations coming. All right, so let's go ahead and settle in, set the tone. I have got my mug with me as always. You already know I always have my tea. And today I'm doing chamomile because it's really great for your nervous system. It's just calming, relaxing. So you already know what time it is. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight and what's in your cup. What are you sipping on tonight? And while you're doing that, I just want to say this. Tonight is not just about marketing tips or marketing hacks, but it's about authority. It's about alignment. And it's also about finally communicating your value without playing small. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So I'm going to start by giving definition to authority, right? So authority is more than alignment. It is literally the embodiment of your truest self. And authority is the ability to communicate your value without chasing attention. And so many leaders are visible, but they're not necessarily positioned or even marketed correctly, right? Many leaders are marketing, but they're not yet leading their category. And that's where playing small actually shows up for a lot of us, right? It doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it can also look like over explaining. It can look like hiding behind trends instead of standing boldly in your truth. It can look like marketing tactics without strategy, right? And so tonight we're not necessarily talking about doing more or doing all the things, but what we are talking about is what authority actually looks like in marketing when a leader is ready to be seen clearly and valued properly. So if that's you and you're ready to dive into this topic tonight, go ahead and drop ready for me in the comments so I know that you're with me. Okay? Go ahead and drop ready in the comments. Hey, Grind, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, as always. Grind in the building. Hey, Moses, thank you for tuning in. There's my people. Hey, guys. All right, and oh, hi, who's XP? Hi, thanks for tuning in on Instagram. Got to give the Instagram crowd some love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So as we're diving into this conversation, go ahead and just put ready in the chat for me if you're ready to dive into this and to learn how to stop playing small in your marketing, right? How to start showing up as the authority in your marketing. It's going to be a really good conversation tonight, guys, so go ahead and buckle up. So as I prepare to introduce my guest tonight, I'm very intentional about who I share a platform with. And Bianca is not just a marketing expert, or as I call her, the marketing extraordinaire. She is a CEO, she is a strategist, and somebody who understands how clarity, authority, and execution work together to actually produce results. And she is also the CEO of a creative station marketing agency, and she helps leaders to show up with strategy and not guesswork. So, Bianca, I would like to officially welcome you to Leader Tribe Live, and I'm going to have you go ahead and introduce yourself and say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to have this chat with you guys today. Um, and excuse any of the sniffling that you hear moving forward. That's the disclaimer. Got something going on with the sinuses. But I'm glad to be here with you, Oksana. It's always a pleasure to have a chit chat with you. And as she mentioned, my name is Bianca. I'm the owner of a creative station, which is a digital marketing agency. We specialize in content creation, social media marketing, and being your remote marketing partner, right? So that means that we show up as your marketing director, not just somebody that runs your social media. That means that we create strategies that create results, not just pretty graphics. So I've been in marketing, period. I've been in marketing for this year will be 10 years. Let's not say that too loud. Um, and yeah, so we've worked with a number of businesses in the service-based industry, authors, authority leaders, so many different types of businesses, government contracts. And so I'm excited to talk with you guys today about this topic and dive into it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So, before we dive in, let's go ahead and start a little bit light. I like to kind of ease into the conversation. So, if you, Bianca, had to describe your leadership style in one word right now, what would it be?
Ooh, my leadership style in one word.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Oksana knows that I'm like kind of like I'm not type A. I very much identify as like type B, which is very fitting because that's what people call me. And so I think that my leadership style is probably um I would say adaptable, if that
Okay.
kind of describes it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um I lead based on situation. The way that I lead is based on situations. Like, so if there's moments where I need to step up, I need to be, the forefront, run the show, then I'm able to, but then I'm also able to let the key players do what they need to do.
Yes.
So I feel like my leadership style is adaptable to the scenario because not all leaders have to be in the forefront. um Leaders know how to build teams, and then the teams also have to be basically put on a pedestal so that they can feel as if they are the owner of whatever their project is or whatever the case may be. So I adapt based on those situations.
Awesome. Makes sense. Okay. So I like to ask that question because I like to try to see if there's a way we can find to work that word back in naturally into the conversation as we keep talking. So it's kind of like a little game.
Oh,
We get
there's
to
going to
see
be
where.
plenty of instances.
You chose a really good word because I can see how that easily will come up in a topic like marketing. So let's keep that word in
Hmm.
mind. We're definitely going to be coming back to it later. So let's
Take a
talk
drink.
about.
Take a drink when you hear adaptable.
For sure. Take a sip. Okay, so I wanted to ground this conversation starting off in who you are, right? I want to give everybody a chance to really get to know the person behind the brand, right? And so let's talk about what originally pulled you into the world of marketing. Like, how did that even happen? Let's talk about it.
So I got pulled into the world of marketing because I fell in love with communications.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was in grad school at the time getting my master's in public health. However, I had come to the realization that I hated um, basically corporate America, for the lack of a better explanation. Um, I just didn't feel like I fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that process, we took a communications course. And the communications course is when I really realized, like, oh, I'm a communicator. Like, I love crafting messages, I love creating campaigns, I love to amplify the voice of the unheard. Like,
Love
that's
that.
where I fell in love with communication. And so that's where it all started. And so from there, I was already writing my blog. I had a blog called A Girl with Style.
Yeah.
And yes, that's really how it began. I started a blog called A Girl with Style. However,
Mm-hmm.
because I was not in communications before, I was in a healthcare world. I didn't know that that was like communications. So when I got into my
Ah,
communications course, that's when it all kind of like came together, and I was like, "Oh, this whole time
that makes
I've been
sense.
marketing." you know and
Don't you just
so
love those moments?
this entire, like, it was like a light bulb. And so that's where it all started. That's how I got into marketing, and then from there I just took internships with different marketing agencies, and really honed in on my skills of social media marketing,
Mm-hmm.
because social media at that time wasn't what it is now.
Facts.
So there weren't many social media managers in the market. There were actually probably none. That wasn't even a job title,
It
to be
wasn't.
honest. So kind of like how AI is now, that's how social media was back then. Like, people
Mm-hmm.
use it, but not a lot of people are really implementing it deeply into their business.
Right.
So yeah, so that's how I got into it.
Okay. Now you said something that I really wanted to highlight. You spoke about amplifying voices, right? I think that's really, really cool. So that kind of brings me into my next question that I wanted to ask you, which is what frustrates you the most when you see leaders showing up online but still not getting results?
What frustrates me the most is really for them, because I know that it takes a lot of time to show up online, and it takes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
effort. So I'm kind of frustrated for you, because I know you feel like marketing doesn't work, because
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the conclusion that you come to when
It's
you're
true.
doing all the videos and you've sent an email or so, or whatever the case may be, and it hasn't turned into profit for you. You feel like, okay, marketing
Exactly.
is lackluster, it doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. So that's where my frustration is it's in the owner. I feel bad for them. I feel like, oh man, like, I know you're kind of frustrated.
Right.
um so yeah, so that's probably where my biggest frustration would come from.
That makes sense. And I think we can all relate to that, right? Like putting all that time and effort
Yes.
into it, and then it's just like, why is it not working?
Right,
We've all
right.
been
But
there. So that's real.
another frustration would probably be the lack of follow-up, right?
Mm,
So what I see a lot of business owners do is, like, when they do make videos or they do make content, they may not reply to all the comments. They may not reply to all the DMs. They may not even have a funnel or a system to follow up with the leads that they do get.
mm,
So they kind of fall flat, and really that's where the gold is, right? So
right.
whether that person is going to purchase from you today or purchase from you in the future, the contact data is gold. So that's why everybody's asking for your phone number and your email, and you're getting random text messages from companies you didn't even sign up for, because your
Right.
data is gold. And so if you have that person's data and they express interest, then
Hmm.
you have to nurture that lead.
I love that. Okay, so before we get too far, let me also ask you
Cause
this.
I'll dive right in. Listen, we
Listen,
about to
she's
get.
ready. She's ready for it. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. So when you look back at your your earlier work, for example, right? Where do you see yourself playing small without realizing it when it came to your marketing?
Ooh, okay. When I was first starting out, I didn't think, because I started my business when I was 25.
Hmm.
So I was, and still is, most likely the youngest person in the room, right?
Yeah.
And so right, like, I felt like, okay, because I'm a kid, quote unquote,
Hmm.
like, I didn't have to really put my best foot forward, or I didn't have to, um I just felt like I was flying under the radar, for
Right.
lack of a better term. Like I didn't really put the effort in that I would suggest to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even with appearance to even how I was pricing, what I was doing. I was
Right.
accepting a lot of things that weren't lucrative to me. I
Yep.
did. And some of it was necessary, right? Because you are new to the game and you're new to an
Mm-hmm.
industry. But some of it was just me not valuing the product that I actually had.
Mm. Yeah, let's be real about it.
Yeah,
Ooh, I can relate. That's why I'm like,
yeah.
we know what that's like,
I
right?
mean, we all do free work, but there's a line.
Got you. So, what
Yeah.
do you think was the shift? Like, what shifted to make you stop trying to prove your value and start owning it in marketing?
Hmm. You know what? There was a few people in Tallahassee, shout out to my Tallahassee people,
Okay.
um, that saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And they really, one, Ayla Madison, she's a realtor now, but she used to host like a networking mixer, and she saw that I was good on camera.
Okay.
And she was like, you need to be on camera. And I'm like, girl, who are you and what are you even talking about? And so she was like, nope, nope, we're gonna, like, you need to host my event, you need to be on camera. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, sure, okay. And so then I'm like, I don't know, what am I supposed to say? And so so that was like one of the first people who was like, no, you have something here. And then one of my first clients, she actually came to Orlando
Mm-hmm.
last week, and I saw her. Her name is Nicole Everett.
Okay.
And she has a talk show called Conversations with Nicole. And she saw me at a networking event one day, and I actually had just like stumbled out of bed. Like I wasn't really like, I was like, okay, I want to go to this event, but I wasn't thinking of like what my perception would be based on my appearance. I was just going. Like I was like,
Right.
whatever. I'm gonna show up. Nobody's gonna notice me, blah 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 blah. Well, she noticed, and she pulled me to the side and she was like, what's going on? And I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, you look like you just rolled out of bed. And in my mind, I'm like, well,
But we need people
well,
like that, though. We really
I
do.
kind of did.
Oh my goodness.
And so she was like, no, that's not how you show up. Like, you are a businesswoman, you are this, you are that. And
Right.
so that's when it kind of clicked to me like, oh, you guys see what I thought, but I wasn't believing, or I wasn't uh executing right
Right.
on that dream that I had in the best capacity that I could. But they saw it in me, and so that's when it kind of shifted, like, oh, Bianca, you have to get your stuff together. Like, you can't
Yeah.
just show up any kind of way. So
That makes total sense.
shout
Okay.
out to them though. Yes.
Listen, we need people like that that can keep it real with us though and to help us to like stay on track. So I love that. I love that for you. So let
Thank
me
you.
let me ask you this then. Now that we kind of talked a little bit about where you came from, what do you think is the bigger mission behind the way that you approach marketing now because of your own experiences?
I know that excuse me. I know that marketing is equally digital as it is relational.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that it's equally posting on social media, videos, content, as it is having person to person relationships, right?
Right.
Because it's not about what you know most of the time, it's about who you know.
Who you know. Mm-hmm.
And that statement is tried and true in business.
Right.
And when you get into certain rooms and you talk to certain people and you make certain impressions with people and uh build these relationships, that is just as important as your digital presence. So I, at this time, know that it's important to do both. And
Yeah,
it's important to create a campaign or a strategy based on both elements being a part of it.
that makes total sense. I love that. Okay, so before we dive a little bit deeper, because now I want to kind of flip it a little bit and let's see how
Yeah.
this applies to our listeners, right? But before we do that, let me just shout out a couple people. So, first off, hey, Sean, thank you for tuning in. Hi, Kareen, so glad you could make it tonight. Moses, yep, he said, nurture that lead. That's right. Don't you let that day pass.
Yes.
And then we have Jared on. Hey, Jared. Thank you so much for tuning
Hey,
in,
Jared.
everybody. So if you haven't already, go ahead and think of any questions that you may have for us, for myself or Bianca, as we're having this conversation about marketing with authority, because this is like definitely some gems that are being dropped tonight. So make sure you guys are paying attention. Make sure that you know are asking these questions because we have somebody here that can answer them, right? So definitely take advantage
Yes.
of this moment in this conversation. All right, so let's move forward. Let's talk about some lessons because we all have lessons that we've learned, right? And things that we've seen
Oh,
as
for sure.
leaders as we're doing what we do. So, where do you most often find that leaders are unintentionally playing small in their marketing? And what does that look like?
Unintentionally,
Mm-hmm.
uh, mm, unintentionally, I mean, I think that business owners who shy away from being the face of their business
Yes. Mm.
unintentionally uh are kind of putting a barrier in front of themselves, right? So yes, you can do marketing without being the face of your business. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that with marketing, it's about, especially in this digital age, it's about showing up in the most effective way because your time is of the essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, although, yes, you can do marketing without a face, but this age of consumers like to know who is running and who is doing what behind the scenes. So it will be longer for you to establish trust with your audience. It will be longer for people to really believe in the business.
Mm.
It will take longer for people to actually purchase from the business.
Right.
So I think that unintentionally they think, okay, well, I don't want this to be all about me, which is the most common thing that I hear.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're hindering yourself from really pushing the envelope further faster.
Facts. Okay, that's a really good point actually, because I do hear that a lot as well. So I definitely see where you're coming from with that. So let's look at the flip side of that though, right? Because you have the people that shy away, like you said, from being the face of the company, but then you also have those that are putting out content and are being consistent, right? But they may not necessarily. Let me put it this way: they're visible and they're consistent, but they're not necessarily seeing the results that they want to see. So,
Mhm.
what would you say to those people, and how do you think playing small can be a factor with that as well?
I don't know if playing small is the factor in that sense. It might be um an evaluation that you need to do. If you're not seeing results from the content you're putting out, then one, you're not sending the right message. There's a couple of things that could be wrong, right? There's a
Right.
lot of variables. One, you may not be sending the right message to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Two, your quality could just be horrible, right? Like your videos are blurry, you're in a dark alley, like your sound sounds bad. There's so many aspects of quality content that
Mm-hmm.
might be wrong with your videos or your content. Maybe your graphics don't look great. All of these can be contributing because there's so much content online
Right.
that people don't have time for bad content.
They're just trying to scroll.
They're just gonna scroll right past it. They're not even gonna try to figure out what's going on. Back in the day, like a couple years ago, people would entertain it. But
Mm-hmm.
now with a ring light being at Five Below, and microphones being, $20 on Amazon,
No excuses.
people don't have the time to like consume content that's not appeasing to the eye.
Right. Or the ear
So,
too, because audio
or
gets
the
backed up.
ear, right? If your audio is whack, then they're not going to listen to it, right?
Right.
Because you really have 3 seconds. Literally, it's probably small. It's probably shorter than that now. You have 3 seconds to capture their attention. And I think it even decreased to like 1.5. So if you can't capture their attention within 3 seconds, then sayonara. It's
That's
just not
true.
happening.
That's true. Because you.
So I I don't necessarily think it's about playing small. I think it's about, and maybe that is playing small, that you don't
Mhm.
evaluate what you're actually doing. You also need to look at, what has worked,
Right.
right? So what has worked in your content that your audience responds to. So you need to evaluate that and you create more content like that. So I think that that is why people don't see necessary results from what they're doing.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe there's also no follow up to that process. So all of those factors,
Could
one
be.
of them can hinder the whole process. So you have
Hmm.
to evaluate all of them.
Okay, so evaluation is the key. And that kind of goes back to what you said earlier about having data as well, not even just like collecting lead data, right? But also taking the time to look at how your content is performing, like you said, evaluating it, seeing what's working and what's not. So I think that's definitely the best way to shift that is to start being mindful of the data, even when it comes to your performance, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Facebook gives you analytics.
It does.
Look at your numbers. Look at your numbers. Look at what content is working and what's not working. And look at what
Mhm.
people are liking. Look at what is getting the most views. Like, they will tell you.
Right. Yeah. So take the time to look at the numbers. Don't be afraid of the numbers.
Don't be afraid of
That's
the
the
numbers.
thing.
The numbers help you. The numbers guide you.
Exactly. Okay, so let's try to make this a little more practical. So, what is
Mhm.
one thing? Let's think of one thing that leaders can stop doing immediately if they want to be taken more seriously in their marketing. What would your suggestion be?
Mm, stop over explaining.
Whew, listen, that's the one.
Stop over explaining. Yeah. And that doesn't mean stop teaching or stop educating. That just
Right.
means you don't have to over explain your product, right? If your
Mhm.
product is quality, if your service is quality, you lay it out clearly and you don't have to keep over explaining it and you don't have to discount it. You don't have to prove your worthiness. You don't have to prove that you are who you say you are.
Mhm.
um Once you have your systems in place and once you've built your authority and you've done all the things, stop over explaining what you do. Let the content and let your work speak for itself.
Absolutely. Because I think when you over explain, then it starts getting into convincing, right? And I think when you have to convince people, it's because deep down
Hmm.
you're not fully convinced of the value that you're bringing. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Over explaining is definitely something that I can
Right.
agree with that leaders should stop doing in their marketing. Okay. So we had a comment that I wanted to highlight here.
Yeah, and it makes you look like you're not.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say it also makes you look like you're uncertain.
Hmm. Exactly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, okay, so I wanted to highlight this comment really quick. So, Jared said, I think you start playing small when you only think of yourself as a business and not a brand. A business has business hours, but a brand has credibility, and credibility is how you show up even after hours. That was
Yep,
really good.
I agree.
That was really good.
That is really
Yeah.
good.
And I think that the main thing too is that a lot of times people just don't realize that they're playing small by doing these things. But even the things that you mentioned earlier, like the messaging not being on point, the quality of the video, like these are all ways that you can be playing small without realizing it because you're not displaying the full measure, the full representation of your business and your brand. Okay, so let's talk about
Yeah,
this
you're
real
not
quick.
putting your best foot forward.
Exactly. Okay, so before we stopped, we were talking about visibility, but not necessarily being positioned. So let's just let's rephrase it this way. What is one practical way that you think leaders can communicate their value more clearly this week? One thing they can do to start communicating their value more clearly in marketing
Communicating their value more clearly. I
in their
think we were
marketing.
talking about this before we got cut off, was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the outcomes, talking about the results. Like, what
Yeah,
can the people expect from you from working with you? What kind of results do they get from using your product or using your service, right? Like, how will they feel? What is the benefit to them? What problems do you solve?
right.
Things of that nature. Focus on that type of content, and that should help bring out the authority.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get to our authority matchmaker round, was there any other like final thoughts that you wanted to leave with those that may be struggling with marketing or with their visibility, like anything that you would want to say to them, just to kind of encourage them or let them know that, it is a process.
Sure. I mean, with marketing, consistency is key, and I know you've heard this time and time again, but that really is the name of the game. Staying
Mhm.
consistent, forever adapting, reviewing your analytics, and then adapting a little bit more is business, right? Like that is, it's not just marketing, it's your overall, like you have to evaluate your entire business whenever you are in business. So
Right.
just understand that marketing is its own department.
Hmm.
You're not supposed to be doing all your marketing. It is something that you should invest in eventually. So when you're building your business, build it to know that you need to invest in marketing, not just videos and photos, but overall strategy, how you appear in the market, how you're uh, growing and scaling in that market
Hmm.
is something that you need to also invest in.
Yes.
Um, and like we said before, it is not the easiest thing to do. Um, because you have to be so consistent and so on top of things, it
Yeah.
can be daunting. So don't feel bad when you feel tired because you're doing probably multiple jobs. So like you're doing whatever your business is, and then on top of that you're doing the marketing, and then on top of that you're doing the accounting, right? So if you're a
Hmm.
small business, we understand that it can be a lot, but continue to follow the leadership tribe, and you can follow me, and we can give you tips to how to navigate that and at least alleviate a little bit of confusion with the types of content that you need to make, and the types of marketing strategies that you need to implement.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for that. So, next up is our authority matchmaker round. So, this is basically where I am going to ask you some rapid fire questions. I just need like 1 to 2 sentences of an answer, but this is just a way for you to connect with those in the community or even on any of our pages that are aligned with what it is that you do. All right, so first question: what do you do and who do you serve?
I do marketing strategy. I position businesses in front of their next client or customer, and I do it for service-based businesses that need assistance with visibility and sales.
Awesome. Who are you looking to connect with right now?
I'm looking to connect with business owners who, one, want to learn how to do marketing for themselves, but don't really know the tools and things of that nature, and looking for coaching. And I'm looking for the business owners who have the budget, that are actually ready to bring on a marketing team, but have maybe been burned in the past, but need
Mm-hmm.
specialized marketing strategies for their business and implementation.
Makes sense. Okay. Describe the type of client or even collaborator who is the best fit to work with you.
The best client to work with me would be someone who is okay with letting go of a little bit of control, because as a marketing director, we also have to be able to steer the ship.
Yes.
And you have to trust the process. Someone who is willing to be a little bit uncomfortable because I may ask you to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. A person who is adaptable because it's
You go ahead and take a sip.
because right, take a sip. Mine is done, but clink clink. Um, take a person that is adaptable and flexible um, to the ever-changing strategy because marketing can change from quarter to quarter, from month to month based on what's going on in the world. So
Right.
uh, yes.
Awesome. Okay. I was going to ask what values matter most in the people you collaborate with. You kind of answered it, but I'll give you a chance to add more to it if you want to.
Well, one of the biggest values that I have is honesty,
Hmm.
consistency, um, and value my expertise, right? Like, I
Right.
need you to value and understand that marketing, like, literally is a different department than everything else that you're doing in your business. And understand that, the authority and education that I bring to it um, has to be respected. So,
Absolutely. Okay. So, for somebody that does feel aligned tonight with what you do, or maybe they want to collaborate with you or work with you, whatever the case is, what is the next best step for them to connect with you?
they can go to my website, creativestation.com. There's a form on there that they could fill out. Excuse me. Or they can go, I mean, they can go to my website, book a consultation, or fill out a form, and I'll get with them.
Awesome. And I just put her website in the comments for everybody so you can find it there if you want to connect with Bianca and work with her in any capacity. Okay. So, please only reach out if you actually are genuinely aligned with what she shared tonight. That is the point of the authority matchmaker. We want to make sure that we have aligned connections. So, all right. So, what we can talk about in the meantime, between time, is that we have an event coming up.
We do. We
We are
do.
collaborating on an event.
Yes. Yes, we
So,
are.
we have another business, Bianca and I. She's my business partner. So I got to be the interviewer tonight, but she's also my business partner for the Boss
Yes.
Collective. And so we have an event that's coming up. So if you wanted to learn more about positioning, about marketing, about visibility, this is definitely one that you want to check out. It's called Boss Moves. It's one of our signature events that we host every single year. And yeah, so you want to talk a little bit about that, Bianca, and like kind of give them some insight?
Yeah, we have four dynamic speakers that will be a part of this event, including Oksana and myself.
Hmm.
And basically, we're going to be talking about from vision to visibility, right?
Right.
So, from creating an idea and making it into a strategy and going right into making yourself visible for your next client or customer. And so, this will be a great event for you to attend. Bring a friend, and a great networking opportunity for businesswomen in the area.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one because I think it's literally going to take a lot of the concepts that we talked about last year and just elevate it to like a whole new level. So I'm
For sure.
definitely excited about that. Excited to see how everybody is going to step into greater visibility this year. I feel like that's going to be like a really big theme for this year. So I'm really excited that we're going to be talking about it. So if you are
I
interested
agree.
in learning more about Boss Moves from Vision to Visibility, which is our upcoming event on February 7th, definitely check out the link that I'm putting in the comments right now and secure your
Yes.
spot, right? Don't just talk about how you want to make your marketing better or how you want to be more visible. Get in environments where you can actually learn what it takes to operate at a greater level of visibility. And this is one of those environments. So definitely want to check that one out. We talked about a lot tonight. We really did. We talked about marketing, authority, all the things, right? So, this conversation was really a reminder that authority doesn't necessarily come from volume, but it does come from clarity. It comes from consistency, like you mentioned, from alignment, from embodiment. And as we prepare to close tonight, let me reinforce this again. Tonight was one of those nights that makes you realize that you've been playing smaller in some areas, probably, that your vision requires. So let's make sure that you're not playing small with your positioning in 2026, okay? So, like Bianca said, make sure that you are locked into the Leader Tribe Hub so that you can be up to date on all these conversations that we're having this year. Definitely check out Bianca's website, see how she helps so many business owners with their marketing and how you can connect with her. And if you really feel that pull to step into greater visibility, the event link that we talked about is also in the chat tonight. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for engaging. And remember, authority is not something that you chase, it is something that you embody. So until next time, keep leading with intention and remember that we are not playing small in 2026. Period.
Period.
All right. Thank you so much, Bianca. Appreciate you.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.